Good evening, this is Vox Vampyrica, directly from São Paulo, Brazil, South America, to all world. And this night, in our virtual studio, we are receiving a great brother, very close friend, and someone who admire his work, my favorite occult writer, and I think you know this man. Please welcome to Mr. Thomas Karlsson.
Thank you so much, brother. When we chatted a little bit before recording, I said how much I appreciate your work, because you are one of the people who go in with all your heart in your work, and that we, despite the geographical distance, we're in Sao Paulo, in Brazil, in the southern hemisphere of the planet, and I'm in Stockholm, in northern Europe, in the northern hemisphere of the planet, and it still feels that wow, we are close. We are like in the same room, and we are brothers in spirit. So I think we are living in fantastic times with great opportunities, and people like you and me and a lot of others, we can together create something that will be the model for the future.
Yes, perfectly. Please, Professor, present yourself to our listeners. I think most of them already know you, already know your books, already know your lyrics on Tyrion and another great bands. But please present yourself for making this first contact with you in our podcast.
Yes, I will. But first, I will light a candle, a black candle, as a symbol that this interview is more than just an interview. It's a way to connect the world, so that the southern hemisphere and the northern hemisphere become united, and that we are going into new paradigm that will be hopefully very beneficial for mankind and for the planet. But a short presentation of myself. I'm foremost known for my esoteric work and my esoteric writing. And my esoteric life started more or less when my consciousness in this incarnation began, because I was 3 years old. I was curious about the world, but I had also access to the astral plane already when I was a little child. And it was natural to me that there were other worlds and realities, and that our physical reality is one of many. But I didn't understand that it was something like considered occult or anything. It was a natural part of my life. But then when I became like around 12 years old, I made the work for school, and I got one of these books about paranormal experiences and so on. And I read the book and became very fascinated by, wow, this is, normal things for me, astral projection and stuff like that. And I realized that, okay, people consider this mystic and even a little bit dangerous. So it, for me, was like, aha, wow, I'm born to know and do things that's considered like secret or even dangerous and mysterious. So I started my occult studies early, and it was like for many of us, it was Anton LaVey, it was Aleister Crowley, it was Blavatsky, many of the Eliphas Levi, and many of the great names in the occult. Then it went on, and in my book, Among Mystics and Magicians in Stockholm, I tell the full story. But I went when I was 17 with an Englishman that I more or less didn't know. I just went with him into a car down to Africa. Because I had the vision that I should meet the Dogon tribe in Mali, because they have, according to a book, serious mystery connection with beings from other realities, or from people from maybe other places of the universe. However, we never went so far as to Mali, because it was a lot of troubles and it was a lot of fights, because he and I more or less didn't know each other. So in Marrakesh, in Morocco, he was doing a lot of mystic stuff. I don't really know what he was into. Probably I, now as an adult, think he was actually smuggling stuff. Morocco trade up to Europe. But I entered to it's a famous square in Morocco, in Marrakesh, and I sat there alone drinking tea, and then come up to me a man that was quite well dressed, a little bit older, and he looked into my eyes and started in French, talking about Le Dragon Rouge. But my French was not good enough, so he switched to English. And he told me and took my shoulders and said, "Old temples will fall, new temples will be built, temple to the Red Dragon." And I was like shocked. What is this? What is happening? What's going on? I'm on a weird travel, 17 years old, to Marrakesh, in northern Africa. Yeah, and I get like a prophecy right in my face. and this man disappeared then out, in the crowd, because it's very crowded. I was sitting there with my tea and about, what is this? Is this a joke? Is it something that is real? Something that actually is sent to me? And I, even today, am not sure what this was. But I know what was sure was that this man came to me and said these words. And I have chosen to believe that these words are key words for a new paradigm. So when I entered home, a 17-year-old, I decided to found Order. But since French is like in old times, the international language, I preferred to call the order in French. Even if I was Swedish, most orders are called in English, temple of, church of, it's often in English. But I prefer that it should be in French. It should be Dragon Rouge. So it was from the very beginning very important, this connection to the French black magic traditions with the grimoire, not least the grimoire that is called Le Dragon Rouge. So that was the starting point. Then I went on, and more and more people came to Dragon Rouge and to the practical magic. And it went on. I learned to know Christopher Johnson, who played in a band that was quite unfamous back then. It was quite new, and he was in my age. And it was Therion. And then later we decided that I should write all the lyrics. And their really breakthrough album, Wobin, that sold, is the one who sold absolutely most, was the first when I wrote all the lyrics. And one of the reasons for that Therion became so successful was that people in the metal scene, they want something real. It's so much just image in the metal scene, and then there is nothing behind. But people understood with Therion, wow, this is metal, and the things they are singing about is for real. It's backed up by a real magic behind the song. So that was something that attracted a lot of people, and of course that was great music. Later, I went on with my studies and received my PhD, and was the first to create a course in Western Esotericism in Scandinavia. So I've been a little bit of a pioneer, even in the academic field. So yeah, that was a brief introduction. Then I, of course, had the musical project and the book project. And one of my visions is to connect the world, the south and the northern, the east and the west. And it's like also from a fairy tale that I then end up with, that I marry a wonderful woman from South Brazil. So I live here in North Europe, the really northern part of Europe, marrying a woman from the southern part of Brazil. So all of this is also like, wow, everything can happen and become real under the wings of the red dragon.
It's truly awesome. It's a great story of life and many realizations, brother. And yes, it is the evening. We are connecting the south and the north, and through Vox Vampyrica, I think the dragon opened his wings and conquered the world. And I wish start speaking of one of your new creations, and I think it's a great. I love becoming part of this creation. Please, bro, what is GLUN, Global United Nightside? It's a great idea, and what our listeners may expect for this sublime and august reunion started by you, and names like Dr. Stephen Flowers, Don Webby, Michael Ford, me. What may you tell for our audience about Global United Nightside?
Thanks for that question, because it's a very good and important question. During the years, I've been running and leading an occult order that's been one of the biggest in the left-hand path and dark magical milieu. So Dragon Rouge has been has a lot of people. We're talking about thousands of people that has passed through and been in Dragon Rouge during the 30 years we have been around, and now we are aiming for next 30 years. But I realized that an order is one thing, and an order is necessary. But there must be also other ways to come out with this important power that is around in the world today. And I realized also that maybe we should keep our differences. That Temple of Set is Temple of Set. That Rune Guild is Rune Guild. Michael Ford's work is his work. But that we anyway have a connection that your work you do in Brazil, my work in Stockholm, that we keep keep what we are, and our personal how to say flavor or character of our work, but still we are a movement. And the movement is something that is free. You are not part of an order. You are not part of a specific school. This movement is just something we throw out, and that, like, for everyone can find this if they accept like this very basic fundamentals of the Global United Nightside. Because it's quite wide definition that it could include all from Kenneth Grant's kind of left-hand path to Temple of Set's kind of left-hand path that differs very, very much. But in this movement, both can be seen as we anyway work in the same direction, even if we maybe run different ships. The ships that sail on the ocean work together and help each other, even if perhaps one ship is struggling ocean, another ship is another order. But the movement is there. It's the sea. It's the direction. It's what can be out there and be something that millions of people can feel that they are part of.
What are the upcoming projects from Global United Nightside? Their plans. There may our audience expect maybe a magazine, a book, a podcast. What are your plans? What are you planning to release? Is there plans? And important, how can someone may join on to Global United Nightside?
I would say first, we don't know yet, and people often believe that I have like an already made up plan for a lot of things. But in reality, it is more like I just follow the impulse of the Red Dragon, or what I call sometimes the Taskmaster or the Dark Lord. I follow just what he or she is telling me to do. So sometimes I actually don't have a good answer of what is going to happen in the future. But I think the Global United Nightside now, we have planted like seeds in a very good black soil, and the Global United Nightside now will rest a little bit, and people get used to it, and actually it's open for everyone. No one can tell anyone that you're not part of the Global United Nightside, because the Global United Nightside, it's a decision you do yourself. Do you feel that you belong to this movement? If you can say it to yourself, yes, I feel this is my movement, then no one can tell you that you're not part of the Global United Nightside. And that's the difference between, for example, an order. In an order, you can say that, okay, no, you don't fit in here, or yeah. But in Global United Nightside, it's simply a question between you and the Dark Lord. That's what I felt was necessary, because there are so many people doing so much work out there. So we need like some kind of common focus, and let it be open, and let it be like a door for ideas, so that you can come with ideas that Thomas or Michael or Edred, I have this idea. What about this? And let's go for it. Or we see where it takes us, rather than that we actually know what is going to happen, because it's really like a movement. It's a wave. It's like something that's a current, like when history has changed, and we are living in times now that we're living in a paradigm shift, and the pandemic right now is definitely a part of this. Like the Black Death, the plague in the Middle Age gave birth to the Renaissance and the Western Esotericism of Italy that spread then around Europe and the rest of the Western world. We're living now in times that another plague changed the conditions for all of us, and that we will see that some people will drop off and get to fall away, but other people will come up and grow and flourish, and we will see completely new conditions when it comes to everything. And that's why it's also important for people like you and me to be part of controlling a little bit, so that this wave, so to speak, go in right direction for the common good, actually, of mankind, because we're living in times that could be really the death and the complete destruction of mankind, or the most huge success of mankind. We're living in times where we maybe fulfill the prophecy and the old saying in Genesis, in the Old Testament, when the serpent offers us the fruits of knowledge and we eat of it. And the difference between the right-hand path and the left-hand path is, was it good or bad that Adam and Eve ate of the forbidden apple? The answer of the left-hand path is that yes, it was good decision. They should eat the fruit of knowledge, even if it then meant a hard way to then become like God. So we are now on the border to reach definitely a level higher as a species than anything before in history.
Great times are coming, and this pandemic times, it is a very scary moment, but someone is rising, someone is becoming, someone is flowing, and something is coming, something better is coming. We must wait, I think, and it's good to listen. It's very good to listen this coming from you, bro. And my next question, for me, I know your motivations, but for many peoples around the world, you rock the magic and the word community with a recent initiation on the Swedish church. But for us, long-time readers and friends and brothers, we perceived that this church have a long time history and connection with Ioannis Burios. I'm speaking right, the name, Ioannis Burios.
Yes, perfect pronunciation, Ioannis Burios.
Oh, thank you. Ioannis Burios and many Swedish occultists. Please, may I tell you a bit more of Swedish church and his perspective, how it's connected, and even some of your experience, and maybe may you tell, if you wish, some of your experiences and discoveries, experience in the universe of Swedish church.
Yeah, and that's thanks again for a good question. People was really surprised and shocked, and even sometimes people disappointed and saw it as, wow, has he changed direction? But the fact is that I haven't changed the direction at all. This is part of like a greater plan. And to me, the Church of Sweden is like a historical building that is more or less empty, because there is a lack of knowledge, there is a lack of people now knowing anything about anything. They are just political. It's become like a political unit or organization. That, so to me, actually, I have very little respect for the Church of Sweden, but I entered because I want to keep and become part of the same current as Johannes Burius, because he was actually part of the same current. So to me, it's like going in to find the hidden treasures, the hidden pearl that has been there since the ancient days, but today almost no one is aware of. But to me, it become like I go in now on my conditions, and it's in my way, the Gothic Qabalah and the runic mystery. That is the reason why I joined the Church of Sweden, to get access to the hidden treasures that actually is in there, even if almost no one knows about it.
All right. Your book, Uthark Nightside of Runes, it's a very appreciated book here in Brazil. Please, may you introduce about Sigurd Agrell visions about Uthark and even about...
You have done fantastic artworks based on Johannes Bureus' ideas, and you have actually given a picture to it that I think is great and that I would like to include in my next runic book, because your pictures explain very well to the reader or the one who sees your pictures the ideas of Johannes Bureus. Sigurd Agrell is a later person. Johannes Bureus lived in the 16th century. Sigurd Agrell lived in the early 20th century. And he was part of the Findesekel movement of the symbolist tradition. And the Uthark theory is very vague. It has its actual historical existence. I doubt myself. It was probably a Futhark with an F in the beginning, and this Uthark theory is an invention of Sigurd Agrell. But Sigurd Agrell was a fantastic visionary. He could see the runes in a perspective that people haven't seen them before. He could mix the runic teaching and the runes with tarot, with the Mitra cult initiation tradition, with the old Greek and Hellenic mystery cults, Roman mystery cults, even the Sami people in the northern Scandinavia, even their native traditions. He could find and he create a beautiful and very useful magic path. So as an academic, I would say that probably not, Uthark is probably not something that existed in the Viking Age as something they worked with. Perhaps, but probably not. But as an esotericist, I say that the Uthark is a fantastic way to work with the runes and give a perspective that actually push the adept into the runes. When you take away the first rune and put it in the end, and it happens things. It's like it opens up a gate. So I see it, Sigurd Agrell open up a gate in the runic mysteries of the runic alphabet by putting away the first rune and placing it in the end. And it also makes sense because Ur, the first rune, then according to Uthark, means ancient, original. It's Ur means really like the most ancient you can think of. And then the F rune, when put in the end, the F is reward, it's wealth, it's success. So you go then from the original Ur state through all the runes and all the different chambers and tunnels of the runes with hopefully the end with wealth and success of the Tehu rune, the F rune.
Truly awesome.
It's my explanation of how I can admit that from a runology point of view, if you look at it academically, it probably not was something we could find in the Viking Age, but nevertheless, it is a fantastic way to work with the runes. And Sigurd Agrell, as the personality, is a magician, important in the level, I would say, as Aleister Crowley or Eliphas Levi.
My next question, it's about Johannes Bureus. may you present Johannes Burius and his importance to our listeners who are inspired and love the study and bring the runes to his magic practices?
Johannes Burius is one of the most interesting persons in the history of Sweden, and perhaps even in the history of Scandinavia. He was coming from a priest family and grew up with a large library, and he was a very good student. He mastered like 8 languages, was the first in Sweden to learn some Chinese, and he lived was born in the 16th century. So it is, like 400 years ago. He was active, and he took impulses from everywhere. He was inspired by John Dee and developed a system a little bit in the same tradition as John Dee, but based on the runes. And actually, Johannes Burius' system, it's so much easier to work with than the Enochian magic of John Dee. Burius' system is actually quite simple, straight to the point system with 7 levels that corresponding exactly to the chakras in the Indian tradition, as well as a horizontal plane that represents quite much of the abyss and the dark aspects. And he's also fascinating because he had so great influence. He was the teacher of the most important kings of Sweden, Gustav Adolf II, who was the one who was so successful in the 30-year war that made that Protestantianism would otherwise have been a little branch in Christianity. But due to the success, the huge success of the Swedish king, the Protestantianism became one of the 3 big branches of Christianity: Protestantism, Catholicism, and Orthodox churches. And in that way, Johannes Burius and the king of Sweden opened up for a new current of thoughts that were more based on Plato, while the Catholic Church was very much based on Aristotle's theories. The Protestant instead tried to find older things. So instead of Latin, they became interested in Hebrew and ancient Greek. And in the end, this also gave the impulses of, for example, the Rosicrucian movement, very big in Brazil. I've been in Curitiba and seen these amazing temples they have. And it's interesting to know, and I don't know if people in the Rosicrucian movement in Brazil know about it themselves, but the first one in the world that called himself Rosicrucian, that actually said, "I am a Rosicrucian," was Johannes Burius, because he read the Rosicrucian manuscripts and some just ignored them, but he really took them by heart and read the Rosicrucian manuscript and said, "Wow, I am a Rosicrucian." So his importance for the Rosicrucian movement is completely crucial, because he was the first to call himself Rosicrucian. And the success of the Swedish king gave birth to all of these versions of Christianity and esoteric Christianity that gave birth to Freemasonry and in the end also actually the actual state of the United States that was very much built on the ideas of freedom, but also was very much a creation of Masons. It's not a conspiracy theory, it's just historical fact. And without the success of the Swedish king, the United States wouldn't exist. So it's quite interesting that Johannes Bereus was the teacher of the king that was so successful that he, like a wave of his importance, gave birth to the empire of today, United States.
Here in Brazil, we have famous Swedish spiritualist and even occultist called Emanuel Swedenborg, who was very popular here in the end of 19th century and begins of 20th century in Rio de Janeiro, city of Rio de Janeiro, and have a little town there, a little community dedicated to study his works, the works of Emanuel Swedenborg. And recently in Vox Vampyrica, I was talking about William Blake, and William Blake and Emanuel Swedenborg have a curious dialogue between his works.
Swedenborg and Blake are together.
Swedenborg has a relation with the previous works of Iburios. Is that right?
That's a very interesting question, because we don't know. Even the scholars, like the professional top scholars of this, like myself, we don't really know how the connection is between Swedenborg and Bereus. But what is clear is that they are in the same line or same tradition. But Swedenborg never mentioned Bereus. So probably he was aware of Bereus, but never studied Bereus so much in depth, but had so much vision himself and was a great scientist also. He was not just a spiritual person, he was also a pioneer in science. And Swedenborg worked in the same current as Johannes Bereus. That's also why I want to investigate the hidden treasures of the Swedish church tradition, because if you look there under the surface, there are hidden things, even dark magical things that more or less no one is aware of, but I want to bring up, and because they are there and they are there to be found. It's really the hidden treasures. And Swedenborg is so fascinating because Brazil is one of the most interesting countries in the world when it comes to spirituality, because it's so many strong spiritual currents in Brazil. And not least the connection to Sweden that has been there for a long time. It's not a coincidence that the Swedish queen, that was, okay, she was born German, but she grew up in Brazil, and now is the Queen of Sweden. We have this strong connection between Sweden and Brazil. And as you mentioned, Swedenborg had also very big influence in Brazil, and he was the main, how to say, that inspired Allan Kardec, is right? Yeah. And the spiritualist movement of Kardec. And so Swedenborg is very present also in the spiritual culture of Brazil.
Bro, I know that you are to release a series of online lectures about runology. Please tell us more about this course. How can someone may join and become student? What's the principal topics? And what are the news and discoveries that the students will find in this course with you? Please tell our audience a bit more about this new course.
Yeah, it's very few in the world that both knows runes from an academic point of view and from an esoteric point of view. One of the grandmasters is, of course, Stephen Flowers, and I pay great respect to him. He has been a little bit of an unofficial mentor for me during the years, since he is a little bit older than me, and he has always come with good advices. and that was actually a little bit the one who inspired me to make my PhD about Johannes Bereus. In this course, I will start from an academic point of view, that showing and discussing all the different versions of the runic alphabet. Then we will go into how to practice the runic alphabet and the runes from a practical magical point of view, and also see how the runes create a kind of cube, what we call a hypercube, a 5-dimensional cube, which we can, if we are aware of this cube, we can draw lines in the web of destiny, the so-called web of Vyrd or web of Urd. And through drawing runes in this hypercube of cosmos and universe, we can actually influence destiny, at least to a certain point of view. We can't control destiny. That some parts of destiny is just to accept. But we can, like, learn how to ride the boat of life. So instead of being in this boat and don't know at all how where it will take us, this course will be a course in how to learn how to use the boat and how to control the boat in the ocean of life. So I will start from a quite academic point of view, and then end up in extremely practical, how to really use runes for practical magic to improve your life. So if you aim for something, it can be fortune, it can be love. It can't be controlled completely, but you can go and start with the help of runes, go in the direction, so you become a magnet to what you want to reach, instead of having walls, so to speak, between you and your goals. The runes can be the way that open up this space to you standing there, just you and what you want to achieve. And then, of course, it's a combination of destiny and your own actions that will decide if your wishes will become true or not. But through learning the secret of the runes, you will learn the secret of the web of a universe. So to summarize, we start academically, going through the main different runic alphabets, and talking a little about pro and cons, so to speak, what's good with some of them, what's bad with some of them, why should we use one alphabet. And in this course, I will actually focus upon the 16 stave row, because that's something that I haven't written about, but it will be like a trilogy in my runic writing. The first, Uthark, the second, Adelruna, and the third that I'm working with now, and that will be quite much in the course, will be about the 16 stave rune row. And it's a very good rune row because it's even more straight to the point when you work magically.
Wow, I feel inspired, and I think that our listeners who join this course will learn and will travel to a new, dark and amusing continent, and it's really electric. It's really magnetic. It is the idea, the plan of this course, bro. I love the idea. So we'll take two next questions here, and you are preparing a new book, a sequence of Qabalah, Qliphoth and Goetic Magic, and your new book will offer a great vision about the Black Mass and his history and practices along many civilizations, and discovered a long time of history, and you bring it to us in this new work a more deeper view of Black Mass from ancient times till the current day. Please share a bit more about this new book, this idea of the Black Mass.
Sometimes when I just speak about the book, I start to shiver myself, because the book, I have said that the introduction to Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula, when he say that if my beloved burns in hell, so will I. It's a little bit the theme of the book, that you deny the faith to a higher faith, the faith of love that will make you an eternal. It's the true vampirism, not the vulgar vampirism that have about sucking other people's energy. This is the real vampirism, about actually going into a pact with the dark forces to reach eternal life. And why are you doing this? You are doing this because of love. So the introduction to Dracula there has so much to teach us. And the Black Mass book has as its basic premise that the dark path have one sacrament that is more important than any other sacrament of the dark path, and it is the Black Mass. But that the Black Mass is so much more complicated than we have been aware of. We have known the Black Mass from Anton LaVey, from Maria Donaglovska, from people on Capri, an island in Italy, that performed Black Masses in the real upper class milieu. But I will trace back the current of the Black Mass in history, and also teach both from a historical point of view that it's actually is a red thread in history, an unbroken chain of the true Black Mass, but that has been hidden. And you must come up to a certain level of knowledge and initiation to be able to perform the Black Mass, because you in the Black Mass actually conjure and bring forth the Lord of Darkness to reach eternal life and get a combination of the fruits of knowledge and the fruits of life that is in the blood. And the book take you on a journey through the tunnels of Qliphoth and the historical traces back to the Indus culture and the ancient Egypt cult of the goat of Mendes, until how do you practice the Black Mass today for real, not like a gimmick, not like some sensationalist, but something that is a true Black Mass that bring forth the Lord of Darkness and unite knowledge and life into one unit. And that is the sacrament of the dark path, the sacrament number one, and it is the Black Mass. And that is what the book is about. The book will be like a little bit of a Bible for people on the dark path.
Recently I had make an interview with Professor Dacre Stoker, grand nephew from Bram Stoker, author of Dracula, and yes, and here I am remembering that you loved the Francis Ford Coppola Dracula's, the introduction scene, the first scenes of the movie, and maybe you share some impressions, some views of this opening of this movie of Coppola for us.
We, as an order, Dragon Rouge, we are the vehicle. We are like the car or the boat for a current that is eternal. And this eternal order of the dragon has had different vehicles during the ages. And one was the Order of the Dragon that Vlad the Prince Vlad was part of, that was a kind of Christian warrior knighthood. And they actually carried also inside them the dark path. So even if it was a Christian warrior knight order, they also carried the dark mysteries of the Goto Mendes that then was in the Templar order and so on, and have different vehicles during the ages. But that is now achievable, accessible through the work of what is going on today. I will say in this, it can sound a little bit too much maybe, but I have, with my work in 30 years and with the new book, open up a key for people, and they can open the door if they want or not. It's a little bit like in Matrix. You can choose the blue pill or the red pill. And this book is the pill that will open up and make you see reality, how it is behind the surface of our worldview.
Did you have a release date of the new book?
We don't know, but we will be published by Aina Bound. That was our main publisher of Qabalah Qliphoth in the United States. And then I hope to continue a collaboration with my Brazilian publisher, with my French publisher, with my German publisher, and so on. So I can see that already now it will be in many, many languages. But the first release will be in English. And I would say I estimate in the end of this year.
Great. We can barely expect it will be a great book and very inspiring one. And you may count with Vox Vampyrica and Rede to spread to all our listeners the release dates, and maybe we make a special interview, a special content for all 10 to promote yet more. Your books are very required in this actual world. And the important things that open our eyes to see new paradigms, new visions, and bring something new to this savage garden, as we call in vampiric cosmovision, vampiric worldview. We call here of a savage garden. And go to our last question from this evening, my brother. Please tell us a bit more about the 95 theses that you are working in these last years.
They are of incredible importance, beyond what I can understand myself. It is not written by me. My hand was guided by the Lord of Darkness. And it was released exactly 500 years after Martin Luther spiked his 95 thesis. And when he spiked his 95 thesis, the world changed. It became a new world, a new paradigm. But now, 500 years later, it was 2017, the new thesis was spiked with a completely other content, but anyway, a little bit connected back to the old 95 thesis, but it will be a little bit like the book of the law for our time and for the dark current and the global united moment, because this is a cryptic book, and I would say it's not written by me. It's written by someone else, by my hand, but my hand was guided when I wrote the 95 thesis. And if you read them over and over again, every time you will see a new aspect in all of the theses. And you can contemplate upon them, and you can even just take like just throw out the number, like you get the vision, okay, like 84, and then you can read the 84th thesis and see, okay, this is the message of today. this is what I'm going to work with today. So the 95 thesis will also be a perfect tool for divination. And not least, what you are doing with your work with this sophisticated aristocratic vampirism is completely in line with the 95 thesis, because they are also based on this aristocratic way of meeting the world, that you are like the knight who are already dead, but you continue to live. And the 95 thesis is your guidebook on this fantastic travel. Or as Lucifer stated clearly, I am here to teach you the complicated simplicity of truth.
Inspiring and powerful, my brother. Well, I'm a bit sad because these are our last minutes from this interview. I thank you so much by your time and your presence here in our virtual studio. This evening, we connected the south and the north and the south, and all directions. Yeah. And this is was a great interview, was a great exchange of ideas and a share of visions and connected the dreams. And I'm very happy in pass this time with you, brother.
Thank you so much, my brother. It has been a pleasure, and I look forward to meet you and have more conversation like we have had this evening. So thanks a lot for inviting me, and thanks also for your great work you do in Brazil. And let us unite the north and the south of the world.
Yes, we are connected, my brother. So, Whole Dragon Omegas.
Whole Dragon Omega.
Whole Dragon Omegas. And here we say too, in our community, we say Hail Sahasra.
Yes.
So, Hail Sahasra.
Yes.
And Whole Dragon. It's very hard. The first Whole Dragon Omegas, Hail Sahasra. Thomas, yes. Thank you so much for your time and your presence. We hope for you in our next editions too, and we are connecting and sharing more ideas, okay?
I look forward to it. And thanks for this time. And see you soon again, brother.
Thank you so much one more time. And now, my listeners, we'll go with more music for you. And in this second block of Vox Vampyrica, we are listening some songs written by Mr. Thomas Karlsson.
Se você gostou deste vídeo, deixe um curtir, compartilhe com pessoas afins e visite sempre o nosso portal redevamp.com.